American lighthouses are symbols of the coastal communities they've served for centuries. So what happens when they're no longer needed and left to fall apart? That's what happened in a small village of about 6,000 people in the Florida Keys. Some people in Islamorada are rallying behind a crumbling lighthouse. They say it's worth saving. Manuel Bojorquez traveled to the Keys to meet the people throwing a lifeline to an aging icon.
4 miles off the coast of Islamorada, rising 136 feet above the Aqua Sea, stands Alligator Reef Lighthouse, a fixture on the horizon here for more than a century. It's a beloved symbol of this community. On the village seal, postcards, T-shirts, souvenirs, even hanging over your head at the local diner. Replicas, both small and big.
This is a 14-foot replica of Alligator Lighthouse that I built.
Local artist Larry Hurlth is perhaps its biggest fan. His sculptures around town made in honor of the offshore icon.
You know, growing up here all my life, I kind of always took it for granted.
Until one day, about a decade ago, when a boat ride to the lighthouse changed everything.
For really the first time in my life, I truly and depthly looked at this thing. Everything was rusted through, and that's the first time I realized, what, condition the lighthouse was in. The thought of losing it was, quite, scary at that point, because what it means to us.
Built just after the Civil War, it had shined its light since 1873, guiding countless ships and lives away from danger. But for Larry, its meaning goes deeper.
My mother and my brother, their ashes are sprinkled there.
You decided that's where your mother and brother would rest?
Yes, and that's where I will.
Saving Alligator Light became Larry Hurlth's mission, but it was in the government's hands.
And out of frustration, I just thought one day, I'm going to swim to Alligator Lighthouse and see if that can drum up some type of
attention.
And
it did.
It certainly did.
8 miles round trip. The publicity stunt in 2012 made headlines and caught the attention of Rob Dixon, who ran a charity at the local pool.
It's Islamorada Statue of Liberty. To put it bluntly, it would be a totally different community if that were not there.
The next year, they organized an even bigger swim around the lighthouse, hoping the U.S. government would notice and make some repairs. But still, in 2014, the light went out. Despite their efforts, modern advances in navigation, like GPS, had made the lighthouse obsolete. There would be no repairs. In fact, the Coast Guard determined it no longer needed an active lighthouse there at all.
And it was just a sad moment for everyone in town to, everyone said, the light's out, because we've seen it all our life.
There was one glimmer of hope. A federal law called the National Historic Lighthouse Preservation Act.
It is strictly for the Coast Guard to dispose of their lights that they no longer have a need for, but they still see is integral to the history of the United States.
Ellen Rankin, a historian with the National Park Service, helps manage the program. She explained the government could transfer ownership of the lighthouse, but there's a catch.
You're not going to give this away to somebody who's going to put a sports bar in there.
Correct.
You want this to be someone who's going to take care of it for the greater public good.
Correct. That's exactly the purpose of this program.
I said, maybe we should try to get it.
So for months, they worked on their application, making their case to be the new keepers of the lighthouse.
There was no guarantee that you were going to get it.
No, and it seemed like a real long shot at the beginning. And as we got closer to submitting this application, it started to seem like a real thing that could happen. So well, who's better than us? Nobody. We're the home team.
The U.S. government agreed. In December, the deed for Alligator Lighthouse was officially signed over to its new owners.
To me, that is the greatest honor.
Yeah. So this is the next chapter in its history.
And this is it.
It will be a monumental task. Stabilizing and restoring it could take years and millions of dollars.
I've never done this before, but somebody had to do it. I said, somebody has to take this ball and run with it and get it over the goal line. And with Larry's enthusiasm and our community, I know it's going to be amazing.
He's got a chance to work on a real live lighthouse.
You've gone from the sculptures to the real thing.
Yeah, I think the sculptures are on back burner now.
A little easier, the sculptures, than this guy here.
Yeah, but absolutely not as satisfying as this will be.
Its lantern may have been extinguished, but Alligator Light's future is looking brighter already. For CBS Mornings, Manuel Bojorquez, Islamorada, Florida.
I love this because lighthouses are symbols of direction, purpose, and of course, spreading light to those in the dark.
Yeah, and Larry's family is buried there. His enthusiasm is what made this happen.
Yep, that's right.
Lighthouse is very sentimental for a lot of people.
That's right.
Nicely done, guys.